The opposition in the Meghalaya Legislative Assembly, or the Meghalaya Trinamool Congress Party, had been continuing with its criticisms and allegations against the NPP-led MDA government by pointing out various flaws and misgovernance under the leadership of Chief Minister Conrad K Sangma. While reacting to such activities by the opposition, the Meghalaya Chief Minister commented by saying that it is the duty of such members to criticize the ruling government. However, he opined that such critiques should be justified with details and not be mere allegations.
Well, it's, I guess, the opposition's duty to continue to do these kind of things, and they're doing their part as an opposition. But of course, they have to always ensure that whatever they say, they have to be able to, come out with all the details and everything. So I think allegations can be made. I have nothing to say about that. But overall, if you look at the overall work that is being done, the results that are showing, I think clearly reflect that a lot of change has taken place in the last 4.5 years. There is a simple example of the schools being today inaugurated. You saw how the schools were before and see how it is now. In fact, some other pictures which we could not show today, you will see in the next phase were even more dilapidated. So I think there will be people who will criticize always. I don't think we can stop that. But I think in general and at large, people have seen the kind of work that's going on in different departments. I mentioned to you that we'll be receiving a presidential award for the performance in JJM on the 2nd of October. So one of the best performing states in the country. I think that's another testimony and example of how Meghalaya government has been doing its work. We have got the same testimony for tourism. We have got the same award for startups. We have got award for e-governance. We have received award for health department. So I think the critics will say what they have to say here. But if you look at the independent critics and the government of India and other agencies which actually look into these aspects have testified that that there has been changes and improvement in the overall governance, and improvements have been seen. And while we say that, we're not saying that everything is perfect. Of course, there are a lot of challenges still, and we have to work even harder. But to say that nothing is happening and everything is under misgovernance would be incorrect.
Agreeing to the fact that there are challenges and problems in the education sector, Conrad Sangma said that certain processes are being followed to address the issue. In the meantime, the state government had recently appointed as many as 1,300 teachers in the 14,000 schools across the state, informed Sangma. He further added that the government has also targeted 200 schools wherein infrastructure upgradation will be the main focus under the central government's School Infrastructure Upgradation Project.
It's a long process. There's so many problems that are there in the education sector. So as you correctly said that, we'll solve one problem, then suddenly somebody will come and say, oh, what about that? Then we'll solve that problem also, somebody will say, oh, what about this? So it's a process and we are working towards it, and slowly and steadily we will see things improving. Even in terms of teachers, in the last 4 years, we have appointed 1,300 teachers that were actually on temporary basis. So teachers are being appointed. And as was mentioned, there are 14,000 schools that we have. So about 12,000 of them are LP schools. So out of these 14,000 schools, there are about 36 schools that are not having teachers. So yes, there should be no school that should be without teacher. But there's a complication that developed because we had gone for the appointments and gone for the interview process and other examination processes, but some court cases came up that led to some complications. But those are certain minor cases. We are trying to resolve them, and hopefully we'll be able to have the teachers for all the schools very soon. Number two, there is a strong case of also rationalization which is required in schools. There are a large number of schools which actually have very less students but have large number of teachers, and some schools which have large students but very less teachers. And hence within the government LP schools, we have to rationalize them and take out some of the teachers from schools which have less students and then give them to schools which have more students. So this kind of process will always be a dynamic in nature. There will never be a situation where it will be always perfect. But to whatever extent possible, the government is taking number of steps which I've already mentioned to ensure that even the issues of teachers is resolved.